When I first heard about the original Fable, I remember being absolutely ecstatic about the concept of it. An action RPG with actual player choices that affected the outcome of the game and its world. While it wasn't as groundbreaking as many thought it would be, it still left a huge mark in the RPG genre and set a new standard for other similar games. Fable Anniversary is exactly what you'd expect, a more beautiful version of the original. While some may have been hoping for new content or maybe revised gameplay, I didn't really take much of an issue with it, as I respect them leaving those aspects untouched to preserve most of the nostalgia. Let's grab a quest card to take a deeper look into each aspect of Fable Anniversary to see where it aligns. As you'd probably expect, we still have the same original Fable story present here, along with the additional content in Lost Chapters. You'll see yourself starting off as a young boy living in Oakvale, helping out the local townsfolk to earn money to help buy a gift for your sister. But the game's story takes a very sudden dark twist that will set you off on your quest. What was so great about Fable was that even though you were tied to the game's overall storyline, you still kinda crafted your own path along the way as you progress from being a young boy all the way up well through adulthood. The journey you'll experience is definitely a memorable one, with enough twists and turns to keep you interested. The gameplay of Fable will definitely feel dated to most gamers, but I don't think its systems are too archaic to be enjoyed still. The action combat can be fun in small doses, as I often found myself preferring to avoid encounters and continue to the next area. The dodging and blocking mechanics still feel kind of off, making combat not as fun as it could be, which is probably the culprit of why I avoided the combat sometimes. When dealing with one enemy at a time it was fine, but there are occasions where I'd have hordes of enemies on me and I would get stuck being hit over and over as I fumbled with the dodging and blocking controls. Fable's major selling point is easily its freedom of choice to the player as they progress through the story. While it isn't as fleshed out as many people would have hoped, it is cool seeing your character physically change based on your good or evil actions. Some of the evil actions you can perform are pretty dark too, such as eating innocent baby chicks. Why, Lionhead? Outside of these good and evil alignment choices, there is also a healthy amount of diverse character stat progression. As you slay monsters and complete quests, you'll be earning experience, which doesn't level you up in a traditional sense. You have to head back to the Heroes Guild, which is an easy process thanks to the ability to teleport to many locations by just holding the D-pad down. Once here, you can use experience like a currency to purchase various upgrades such as more melee strength, more health, increased bow accuracy, and a massive assortment of different magic spells. If players desire, they can focus in one specific area, but it's recommended to mix things up and make a hybrid character to be able to handle the variety of combat situations you'll find yourself in. The controls of the game have been modified to be more in line with Fable 2 and 3, and it makes the combat a bit more fun and easy to grasp as you swap between melee attacks, spells, and your bow, with each of their dedicated face buttons. Combat controls felt responsive enough to me, however opening and flipping through the menu still feels kinda like a hassle in the new version, even though it's been prettied up. Opening the menu to look at quests or items has a slight load delay, which ranges from being very quick to somewhat slow at times. When coming from other games, usually on PC, where the interface menus can be opened up in an instant, it can be somewhat frustrating. They went to great efforts to make these menus look really nice, but as I mentioned, it involves a lot of confusing navigating through all the various tabs and trying to find what you're looking for. Despite this, it still is ages better than the original dated menu interface. While a player can easily push through the story content in about 8 hours, Fable offers many more hours than this. One of the most enjoyable parts about a Fable game is really becoming involved in your character and the game's world. Try interacting with the living world around you using various emotes to either get people to love, hate, or even fear you. Maybe buy a house to find a loved one to start a family, or perhaps buy every house in Albion and rent them out to amass incredible wealth. There's so many ways to extend the replay value of this game, it's just really up to the player how they want to do so. One last feature that needs to be noted is the addition of smart glass as a supported feature into the game. I never really took interest in the Wii U inspired concept, but I was still curious to try it out in Fable Anniversary. I actually ended up being quite surprised how neat the integration was, having an interactive map on my lap to accompany my play sessions. The best feature of it by far though is the screenshot comparison, where players can click on little camera icons in the map to see what the area looked like back in 2004. This was a great idea on Lionhead's part. While some of the gameplay might feel a bit dated, the new visuals certainly left me pleased. The new lighting and shadow effects in particular really breathed new life into the 2 generations old game. I've always loved Fable's character and weapon and armor designs as well, and it still retains this unique style. They put a lot of effort into the game to retain its original style, as well as enhancing the quality to a level way beyond your typical HD remaster. The developers actually stated they went back to the original concept art to build new models and textures from scratch, rather than just prettying up the 2004 models. Despite the beauty that can be seen in the game, it still has some problems due to the limitations of the Xbox 360 hardware. You'll find yourself running into frame rate drops occasionally, as well as some texture pop-in, but it never got to an unplayable level for me. Some of the faces on the characters also can be pretty ugly and dated looking, although I have to say the new demon doors do look pretty amazing compared to the original. Animations of characters during cutscenes is quite bad as well, although I had no complaints about animations in actual gameplay. The music of Fable is just as magical as it was a decade ago. It's been stated to have been remastered and tweaked in various ways, but I couldn't really pinpoint any specific updates to it. Either way, it still sounds amazing, and it always will be one of my favorite game soundtracks of all time. The Oakvale theme has always been one of my favorite game tunes, and it was a treat to hear it again accompanied with the new detailed visuals. Fable Anniversary is foremost a game for players of the original as it retains the heart and nostalgia of it despite the new look. Players that only played Fable 2 or 3 and maybe avoided checking out Fable because of the many generation old visuals may want to come back and check this version out, even if it does feel a bit dated in the gameplay compared to newer entries. I can easily say this is probably one of the best HD remasters of a game I've played because I can truly see the effort that went into it and comparing it with the original. Many games just get a simple upscaling treatment, but Fable got the facelift and tummy tuck with all the bells and whistles with Fable Anniversary. Being on Xbox 360, it is noticeably held back with the old hardware unfortunately, so hopefully we'll see an Xbox One or PC version someday. Despite any faults, I still had a great time playing through my player-driven tale in Fable Anniversary, and I recommend anyone interested to give it a shot. The Game Cavern gives Fable Anniversary a 4 out of 5.